Okay, let's take a second and let's add location into our Windows app here. So I'm going to say new project. I'm going to say Metro Style app blank. And so what I want to do is access the location service, right? I don't need to have a GPS in my machine. In fact, I'm going to be running this on my desktop, so I certainly don't have a GPS. Let me go into the XAML and start making some placeholders for me to be able to put some information that we get. I'll get latitude, longitude, and you know what we'll do? We'll do a geocode so that we can translate that lat long into a string, into like a city and state. And then we'll also do we'll also go to Bing Maps and get a map. Right? Let's do that real quick together. Makes it sound so simple. Wait till you see how simple it is. All right, text block. So I'll add the first text block right here. You know what I'm going to do? First thing, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Jump and make its text size, I don't know, 30. There you go. So this will be like latitude, right? And so let me put that here. I'll copy right below longitude. We'll do the geocoding here, and then we'll add the image right there. So let's just set all that up so I don't have to come back into the XAML. First of all, set up the image. I'm going to take away the height and the width because I want it to be just right. The source for image is going to, I'll just bind it to the data context of the page and we'll deal with that later. Up here, xname. So the first one is going to be latitude, right? My lat. And then the other one is my long. And then finally, my location, let's just say. Right, this is where I am. Bam, 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 with the image below that. And okay, that should be all we really need. I'm going to switch this to use the simulator, drop to the code behind, and start typing. Okay, so what we use, if you've used Windows Phone, you know it's the Geo Watcher. So this is the Geo Locator, same as the Geo Watcher in so many ways. So let's Geo equals new Geo Locator. All right, so let me add the using for that. And now I'll do one thing that's going to look a little odd. Okay, so this is an I'm attaching to the event of position changed. Every time the position change, it refreshes the information. I'm going to leave this empty. And let me just tell you, I'll just mark it so I know. In my experience, this tends to initialize the geolocator more reliably, right? So I don't have to worry if the user, where it is in its life cycle, I get the position more quickly. So let me change this on navigated to be async, and then go to var position equals geo dot get position async, and of course I'll await that because it's an async method. So now I've got the position. So one thing we have to do, we'd get an error message if we didn't. I'm going to jump to the manifest and then to the capabilities tab and select location. If I didn't do that, then I don't ask for permission to use location and it just fails. And so if you're going to use Geo Locator, you have to check this checkbox. And once you do, the user has to give you permission after that. So let's do some stuff here. Var lat equals the position, oops, in the coordinate latitude, right? And so remember, it was my lat. My lat.text equals lat.string. There we go. And then var long equals, we'll do the exact same thing, right? Coordinate.longitude. And then my long.text equals long.toString. That should do it. Remember that I don't have a GPS in my machine here. It just uses everything at its disposal, many different techniques in order to figure out where I am. Let's go ahead and run that so we can see what happens now. It should prompt me, first thing, to give permission to use location. There it is. Can app 15 use your location? I'll allow it, and then a couple seconds will pass, and then it will fill in my lat and long. And I have a problem, but because I didn't debug it, I am not able to see what that problem is. Let's just try again and take a look. Okay, great. So I have Latin long showing up, 39 and negative 105, and it figured that from everything it can do, right? There's a lot of black magic here. We just have to trust that it works, and trust me, it works crazy accurate. Okay, so the next thing is tricky. I want to add in a helper class that I have. And so let me jump over to a browser and show you that I'm at codebase.net. Fantastic resource of passing code around if you haven't already seen it. But look at this, FZG5UP. That's worth remembering. I'll put it in the blog to make sure you have it there as well. And this is the helper that I'm going to add in. So I'll just click on copy. I'll copy the whole thing. And I'm going to drop over back to my project here. And I'm just going to add a new class. Everything is self-contained. I'm going to call this the map helper. Here I am in the class. I'm going to paste it in, and it's ready to go except for a few usings. Right? So I'm going to scroll up through the page and try and find everywhere where there's an underline so I can fix it. Here's the JSON serializer using a memory stream, and let's see. There's one other right here in the signature of using right here, size. Okay, once I have all that there, I don't need to do anything except go to Bing Maps Portal. BingMapsPortal.com is where I get my key to use Bing Maps service. Just go get it. It's free. No big deal. All right, so let's do that. Bing Maps Portal. So let me save myself some typing, and I'm going to paste in my key here. Right? There's no reason to copy my key. Go get your own. It's free. No big deal. But here's what I'll do. I'll say var helper equals new map helper, and I just pass in my key. Now when I do that, the helper's ready to go, and so the first thing I'll say is var location. Right? It's a geocoding service that takes it will take Latin long and give it back to me as a string with city, state, zip, things like that. It's an await of helper dot find by point, where I pass in lat and long. Oops, long. There we go. Now location is going to be set. I'm going to move that into. There's a lot in location. I only want the address. Like that. Why does location return an enumerable? Because your lat long could be in an apartment complex, right? And so it could have a lot of different addresses. So I'm not in an apartment complex right now, so I'll just take the first one and get its address. And let's see. Let's make a string out of it. Call it here. String.format, and let's see, we'll put just like this. And so I want the address. Let me move that out of the way. It'll be address dot I have it here because it's tricky. You can kind of do a quick watch on it and figure it out too. And then admin district. Alright, so that's going to be my city, state. Works well enough. And I'll say, remember it was mylocation.text equals here. Got it. So that's me doing a quick geocode. So there's going to be this pause, right? The first pause will get my location. The second pause will go and do a geocode for me. So let's run it and just take a look to see if that works. But nonetheless, so I said there'd be a pause, not much of one. There's my lat, there's my long, there's my city state. So let's back out. Let's do one more thing. Remember that image that I placed on there? Let's set the URL equals, it's the helper, and this time I'm going to use this get map URL. And so the map URL is a cool thing. It allows you to put all the places of, let's say you're looking for coffee shops or restaurants or something like that. It'll find all those dots and put them on a map for you and then show you where you are. Because of how simple this is, I'm not going to look for anything but me. So I'll pass null to the first, which is the location of all the other pieces. Right? I'm not going to show anything but me. And the next one is me, and it takes a specific type of push pin. And I'll just drop that down. And that asks for where the center is. I don't care. Asks for the size. Let's do that. New size, and I'll make it 500 by 500. And then finally, I don't care about the zoom. I'll let it handle everything for me. Again, this helper, I wrote this helper to be totally self-contained. you can have it, right? I already gave you the URL for it. Really easy to use. Icon style equals, I'll just take the first one in the list. What my latitude equals lat. My longitude equals long. Oops. That wouldn't have worked, right? And that's it. Let's just take a look. This is me building the URL for my map. It's going to be a static image, right? Not the Bing control that I can move around in. This can be a static image that I would show on a page, on details page, on my hub, anywhere I don't want a full control, but I still want to show the fidelity of the map. And so now I'll say this.data. Remember, I totally cheated by putting it in the context of the page itself. Of course, this would really be the map URL property in my model view model in my view model for MVVM. But I'm just showing this off. All right, so I already do the. Let's just scroll up through the code and take a look at it again. So here I create the Geo Locator, which is responsible for giving me my personal lat and long. And so first I get the lat and long from that. Remember, I call geo position async. That gives me my lat and my long coordinate. And so I'll just set those up. We've already seen that. And then I'll use my helper. The helper, I get the key from bingmapsportal.com. Just go create a developer account and get your key for free. Pretty easy. And then from there, I'll ask it to find my location based on my latitude and longitude. I'll tell you what's awesome about this. I don't have to get it from latitude and longitude. I can get it from an address where I pass in, city, state, zip, street, whatever it is I want. Or look at this one, by query, where I can pass in anything, whatever the user types in. They type in an airport code, they type in a city, state, they type in all kinds of options. And this service does the best it can to match that and return the locations that are for it. It's powerful, right? The users can tell you where they are, and they don't have to type it correctly every time. You don't have to ask them in a million different ways. You just use that, and then you evaluate it to make sure there wasn't an error, right, when it was finding it. So anyway, it's going to find mine based on lat and long, my current position. I'll get the address from it. I'll just format it so I can see city, state. We know we've already seen that. Looks great. And now I'll use getMapURL, which will go in and it's not going to go do anything. It's just going to generate a string. And it's going to generate that URL that I can pass to an image, and it'll show it for me. Let me go ahead and run it. We'll take a look at it. So again, we're accomplishing this with the system that's already built in with the position. Check that out. That's awesome. That's right where I am. And in fact, see the little question mark? Let's fix that just for fun. It's the final one. Text equals me. All right, let's see if it'll fill it in. There's a series of push pins you can select, and it's all documented inside that class. So go get it, take it for free, go to town, and have a lot of fun. Again, the location service is built into Windows 8. It finds out where you are. Look, it found out exactly where I am, and I don't have a GPS. Pretty awesome, if you ask me. So you can build applications that use location and don't necessarily have to be tied to devices that have GPS enabled. Then use a geocoding service from Bing Maps. I use Bing Maps. Yahoo also has one that's free. Just use the one that you like most, right? And then I can also use it to build a map, show the maps control, and so many other things. All right, cool. Best of luck.